Jai Gurudev, everybody. Thank you all for the invite and having us on this session. Firstly, wishing you all a happy Dasera and a great Navratri that all of us have had. I have with both of us today, Ashish and me. And today's session is on the power of teamwork, especially in the art of living, for large courses and how we could organize larger programs and something which we could all implement with our daily time that we have for our programs. So I will leave it to Ashish to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Ashish, and I have been associated with Art of Living for the last 13 years and have been teaching the Art of Living program for the last 9 years. Over to you, Ujjwal.
Yeah, so I've been with the Art of Living since 2004 and teaching since 2010. And today, Ashish and me are actually live from Bangalore, and we're in a place in Koramangala and actually sharing some of our best practices and how the power of teamwork really works with all of us. And just to let you all know, today's session is about 30 minutes, and we're going to be sharing some of our best practices. And just to relate, this has been our recent Seva project that we've had, that is the happiness program with Gurudev, which happened last month in our own area, and we wanted to just share our best practices, how we as a team together formed, to get across more than 1,000 participants together for this program. And some of the best practices that we put together, and we'd like to share this with all of you. Just to let you all know, today's session is not going to be very common things about what we all do for Seva, but some things that we've experienced as a team, and we like to share that with all of you. And we put something together that so that we know what today's agenda is all about. One is how do you actually form a team? When you talk about teamwork, how do you really form a team? And this could be for anybody across the country who's live on this webcast. If you're a teacher, how do you form a team? The importance of your vision, the execution of your vision and your sankalpa with your team. How do you increase your team size, the ideas, how do you make that big through your follow-ups and reconnect sessions? And how do you celebrate and enjoy every milestone that you can inspire people to come back on the path in terms of the seva? And how do you keep that focus going at every stage of your seva? And the importance of positive communication for milestones. So just to let you know, like Gurudev has been always saying that whatever you do in terms of be it programs, be it events in Art of Living, the key magic is to involve everyone together. And that's the power of teamwork. From the start of even having your own ideas or taking up sankalpa, it is, and I'm sure Ashish will agree to that, you cannot have an idea on your own. It's about getting at least 3 or 4 members together and sharing that across. And very important is to form a core team so that you're not the only person coming together for an idea or working on a seva. Have 3-4 people together for your key decision, because sometimes it's always good to get opinions of others in your decision making, and always do it together from whatever you have, and that's what our best practices have been. What do you say, Ashish?
Right.
So I think Ashish will now talk about how it's important to start something like very small as meetings.
Right, true. One of the simple experiences we had was, we organized all the meetings with a proper agenda, and the preparation for the meeting used to happen well in advance. So we used to meet as a core team and decide on what's going to be discussed in the meeting, and the agenda would be ready. But at the same time, it's not that we put the agenda over the team members and tell them this is what we want to do. what we do is we first start with an open discussion wherein people share their ideas and how we want to achieve it, what can be done, what are the things we want to do in that particular period of time, and then we kind of consolidate, summarize those key points, and then bring it onto the main agenda which is already being constructed. So you create a framework, allow others to kind of join in into that framework, and then take that action item together. And the whole meeting has to be a kind of time bound activity wherein it starts on a particular time, has a proper agenda, and at the end of the meeting you kind of know what you have achieved in that meeting. So that's very very important. So that's about the meeting, right?
Yes.
And what about the communication once we do the meeting?
Yeah, so what we've noticed is the power of teamwork is vital because to have a core team communicate what you've done. Communication is so important, especially in the art of living front. At times, we got to have clarity in our communication. We got to have clarity in our vision so that whatever we're communicating as teachers, as members of a larger team, be very important and keep this in mind that you're actually addressing your ideas, what people have shared to a larger audience.
True.
So your communication needs to be very, very, I can say, perfect. So ask your team members, don't do it alone. Try and have all the information that you put together from a meeting stage, formation of a team. You got into a meeting, you had your core team set up, and now is the communication. So take help from people and let your communication also be divided. Let not one person do the communication. Let people take turns and practice your communication. I think today what we've seen
True.
is the most common form of communication today is on WhatsApp, because today everybody is on groups. So practice your communication, send it to your core group and see this is how it looks. Do you have any changes? And that is a planning that is required, and then you can communicate.
Take the feedback.
Yeah. Coming up next is, I think this is what as a core team. Of course, today only two of us representing here. Ashish can share this very well in terms of how the vision and execution is very important. Once you have an idea, how do you execute this to get a larger course or a larger program?
Right. I think once we have the vision clear, what we want to achieve, I think it becomes very easy to kind of bring the team together to start working. So, for example, when we had this happiness program with Sri Sri happening in our area, so it was a very nice thing for everyone to be part of an big event, right? So then when you share the same vision, then everyone kind of pitches in their own simple ways. Somebody can do intro talks and do big things, good, but there are some housewives, some elderly people who can do a lot of things in their own way. So kind of forming that team. And then second thing is once you've formed that small team, keeping the team together. So I think that's what we kind of face. Sometimes some personal things come up, and it's a bigger period. For bigger events you have a long time frame, right? So in those bigger time frames, personal things come up, energy goes down. So understanding what's happening at the ground, how the volunteers are kind of facing the issues, and kind of addressing them in their own defined ways, kind of helps the team to be together. And most of the times what we do is we take decisions which are kind of based on some kind of parameters, and we forget to see what is happening at the ground level. Are the things working? Are the things not working as per plan? What's the volunteers feedback from the ground? So that was a key thing which helped us to change some of the strategies and execute well for this program, because we were connected on the ground with all the volunteers and teachers, and based on their feedback from the ground, we were kind of making the adjustments in our seva plans, and approaching our overall strategy for the program. Ujjwal, any other examples you have?
Yeah, and like Ashish was sharing, some of the things that you actually get from the team, you got to respect the idea very much, and that's what we really felt. Is how do you inspire more people to come on to this seva, especially when you have a program or a course? How do you inspire to them seva is you respect the idea. People are given your ideas, but you respect them, and you go ahead, implement that idea is also important. The next thing that we felt, that how the power of teamwork really works is also during follow-ups. Ashish, you have anything on the follow-up piece?
I think we can share, no? We did few follow-ups.
Yeah. So what we did was something very interesting. Here, when we talk about follow-ups, is our long kriyas which happen, sessions which happen on a weekend,
Satsang.
typically a satsang or a follow-up. What we have done is we wanted to make sure that even if you have about 50 people coming into your follow-up, how do you engage that each person who's come into the follow-up? Yeah. So one is, it's good as a teacher to practice a day in advance or plan a day in advance of what are going to be your follow-ups. Okay. So even in this, teamwork is important. Maybe you may not have an idea. For example, we thought during Gurudev's program or any program that you want to do, how do you get ideas? Sometimes as being as teachers, you have the same idea, but follow-ups could be interesting. But one is you finish your session first, your long kriya, your yoga, whatever is required. Then the entire group can be engaged by making them subgroups. So it's like any other system, you divide them into smaller groups. You allow them to discuss in smaller groups with a time bound session. Tell them that you have, for example, 3 minutes. This is your topic, this is your idea. We need to generate an idea, and in your groups, discuss this. So, in this way, I think what we've experienced the first time people opened up. They were also given a chance to take part in the seva, also discuss it, and they opened up. And also, as a teacher or as a leader in that follow up, whoever is there, it's important to consolidate your ideas.
True.
Very important. Sometimes at the end of 2 minutes, we got to stop there and say, okay, in the next 1 minute, let's consolidate, because we can't prolong the session too much. And then is to connect back with ideas and how we could execute them, whether through a group or your interactions again. This is something interesting that we've seen. And I think secondly is how Ashish, something that you want to share, how
Yeah.
do we enjoy the participation?
No, one more thing is very important is that sometimes what happens is that we do a lot of such activities. We do those group formations and we do idea sharing. But at the end we don't consolidate it. We don't take anything concrete about from the discussion. So nice ideas come up. But this time, when discussions had happened and we had put those chart papers and ideas, and then when we went back from the follow up, took those chart papers and kind of framed some of those ideas into how we can execute them. Some of those ideas really worked well for us, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's very important to kind of give that a kind of completion and not just do it as a discussion, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's very important. And coming to celebrating, I think we had Navratri celebration, and Guru yesterday said celebration is what we should be looking for. Every moment, celebrating the whole life. And in the period of seva also, what usually happens is sometimes a volunteer's energy goes down, a teacher is not feeling good, they're not getting the kind of results which they are expecting. So it's good to kind of have small milestones and celebrate those milestones. So for example, when we were working for this 1,000+ course, so when we reached our 100, so it was a big celebration. So we kind of got together, had good fun, so that that whole motivation and the whole energy of the group keeps lifted when we have those milestones, and we kind of enjoy each and every part of our journey. Even though our target was 1,000 and we didn't stop before that target, but we did not forget to kind of utilize every moment in celebrating or bringing out something beautiful, which kind of kept the team together. Otherwise what happens, sometimes the energy goes down and people fall apart, the team starts falling apart. So this celebration, having food together, music, just keeps the thing going. Anything you remember what you did?
Yeah, so this is very interesting. At every milestone, it could be not only in this program that what we've achieved is, ideas can come from people. Small things like, we want to take out people, for example, of food. You want to just go out for an evening outing, just having people there. or meeting people, having an achievement done and say that, okay, now this group has done something, let's go there and celebrate.
Yes.
So, for example, we had organized just small milestones where people used to just have ice creams and go out for midnight snacks, because some of the teams which got together thought that, especially after their office hours, they thought the night time was better to do seva. So during that time, when they achieve milestones, snacks would come in the different slots of hotels and restaurants used to have. So small milestones where all your members can connect. Yeah, it need not be at the end of the program that you do something, but at every milestone you could celebrate. And that's one of the key things that you notice is how do you inspire many more people to come for your seva or for your program. This could be a big thing, because uh, the biggest thing that we saw a difference is when we did our follow-ups a little more interesting. It need not be great ideas, but some time where you can plan. We got a lot of new people joining us
True.
for seva. That's what we saw. And this is how the team built up, and we kept that energy going. And like Ashish mentioned, it's very important to send out positive communication. Let the core team handle challenges and things like that. That need not go out to a larger team. Very important that we focused on is send positive communications. Sometimes teams dip in their own sankalpas, having a doubt in their own minds.
Yes.
But as a core team, you got to just keep that positive thing happening, because it inspires people to stick on to the project. Yeah.
And just to share one more anecdote from what happened, see, sometimes what happens, there are different ways how people work. Some people work in their own style, some people can easily gel into a team. So it's very, very important for us to kind of see the positives from what people bring on the table, rather than focusing on what cannot work. So for example, sometimes I may not be having certain opinion which Ujjwal is having, or maybe some other team member is having, and it is fine. So we respect each other's opinion, but at the same time, we don't necessarily say yes to other person's opinion if we don't feel. But at the end of it, whatever we focus on or whatever we zero on is the final thing. We all think that yes, this is what is our way forward. So it's like having different multiple views, but having that single focused approach towards getting the thing done. So that's one very important thing which we kind of learned over the course of this program.
Yeah. So just to summarize what you've spoken today, one is it's the power of teamwork. Whatever you do, don't do it alone. That's what we have noticed. Sometimes, in the urge of announcing something, you just go ahead and announce your vision, your sankalpa, but do it together. And I think Gurudev has always been telling that, whenever you organize something, let 2-3 people come together, and it need not be teachers. So if you're alone in an area, get maybe 2 newcomers to come along with you and take a group sankalpa. Keep your vision, your sankalpa, and the execution very simple. Keep the sankalpa running with very simple, practical ways, and make your follow-ups interesting. You have various ideas to do it, but your teams can give you ideas. Plan it a day in advance. If it's happening the next day, plan how you're going to do the sessions. There could be various ways to do it, but it's always to do it in groups, and then reconnect and then follow up on it. Enjoy and celebrate every milestone, which is very important. Doesn't matter if you're not able to achieve a certain number, because after all, in the end, it's Gurudev's energy which takes over. Keep the focus going, because teamwork is so important, because when your energy goes on and when you get busy in something else, the team's energy comes up. So it's very important to create a core team who can understand people's mindset and positive communication. It's very important, be it through WhatsApp, email, or announcement. Keep the positive communication going.
So as I think as you mentioned, it's about that positive energy, that sattva which we call, So for example, when things were not working in some part of our, centers, and how, as a team, we went together to those centers and kind of, lifted that energy up. We had a couple of places, centers where those new volunteers who had joined us and said that we will organize a course in our place. But somehow over the period of time, things did not work out, and things did not happen as were planned. But that power of that energy, that okay, we can still make it happen, and at the end of the whole thing, we still had courses at those particular places,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's very important to just focus on that positive energy. This positive energy, when shared with the bigger team, can uplift everyone. So that's what we experience in this
Exactly.
program.
Yeah. So this is what we wanted to share. If you have any questions for us, please do post it on the link which you already connected on, and we could take them live right now. There was one question that we have is, when the tough goings, when it's going tougher, how do you keep yourself motivated? I think being on this path, the only motivation is yourself, your sadhana, guru's knowledge, and it's guru's work. And that's where the team plays a vital role. Sometimes if you're alone, then the tough gets a little more tougher. But when you're with a team,
It gets easier.
the team gets to know what's happening. So it's always good to share with your team members that there's something that I'm going through, and then your teams can give you back that energy. So the only inspiration is your team. Whether be it 3 member, 4 member, or a 10 member, let the team understand what you're going through. Yeah. We're actually looking at if you have any questions coming up right now. If you have any questions, you can share it. It's going to be live with us. Something that you like to share among us. We can wait for those questions to come.
I think that's what we have. Or anything else?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we have to share.
I mean, please feel free. I mean, this is one of the opportunities which we got to share whatever we have experienced, and whatever we have experienced, there's a big team which has done it. We are kind of representing the entire team. There are amazing people who did amazing work, and there are lots of such people in our organization. So we learn from everyone. Small, big, everyone. We keep our eyes open and learn at every opportunity, and this is what we have to share. And
Yeah.
you can always connect offline, online, in ashram, in Kormangla, anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right then.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much,
Jai
and
Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.